The demand curve represents the private marginal benefit. Why? Because for each hypothetical quantity, it tells me the maximum amount or the maximum price a consumer is willing to pay. Now we need to define social marginal benefit. Social marginal benefit is just the sum of all private marginal values. Let's consider two examples. The first one is the social benefit if I get a flu shot. Well, what will be the social marginal benefit? Well, first of all, it will be my private marginal benefit. Why? If I get the flu shot, I will decrease the chances that I'll get the flu, so I get a benefit from it. But on the other hand, if I am a teacher and if I'm talking to my students in the classroom, the fact that I got a flu shot will also benefit them because it will decrease their chances of getting the flu. There is also the benefit that my husband is going to incur. Why? If I get the flu shot, it's going to reduce the probability that he's going to get the flu because he's not going to get it from me. So the social marginal benefit that happens when I get the flu shot is just the sum of everybody's benefits that everybody gets when I get the flu shot. Now, consider the social marginal benefit that everybody's going to get if I eat a taco. Well, there's going to be my private marginal benefit of eating a taco, but you cannot enjoy the taco that I eat. So the student's private marginal value of me getting a taco is 0. My husband also cannot enjoy the taco that I eat. So his private marginal value that he's going to incur when I eat a taco is also 0. And what you see here that in this case, the social marginal benefit is just my private marginal benefit. And that leads us back to the discussion, when are markets efficient? When is the market outcome desirable for society? When are markets efficient? Well, there are two conditions. The first condition is the following: when only the purchaser captures the benefits from the good or service. So that will be the example of the taco, but will not be the example of vaccinations. So, if the first condition is satisfied, only the purchaser captures the benefits from the good or service, social marginal benefit equals private marginal benefit. You're going to see why next, but that's the condition here. Social marginal benefit has to be equal to private marginal benefit. Now, before we talk about the second condition, let's define social marginal cost, which is just the sum of all private marginal costs. Let's start with the following example: the social cost of a chemical plant that pollutes the river as it produces cleaning supplies. Let's say we're talking about the chemical plant that produces Clorox. Well, what would be the social marginal cost? First, we have the private marginal cost. To produce Clorox, a chemical plant has to hire workers, it has to hire chemical engineers, it has to pay for all sorts of chemical inputs. I don't know how to produce Clorox, but there's going to be a cost. The first part of the social marginal cost is just the private marginal cost of the firm itself, which is producing the cleaning supplies. Now, let's assume that this plant is polluting the river though as it produces the output. In that case, because the river is now polluted, the fisherman is going to have a higher cost. It will be much harder for the fisherman to find fish if the water is not clean. So basically, there would be the private marginal cost of the fisherman that the fishermen are going to incur, or if the chemical plant produces a certain quantity of Clorox. So the social marginal cost of producing the cleaning supplies is the sum of the private marginal cost of the producer of the cleaning supply itself plus the private marginal cost that the fishermen are going to incur because the chemical plant polluted the river. Let's see a second example. Let's say that the factory is actually very responsible and does not pollute the river. It can abate the pollution or it can get rid of the pollution some other way. But anyway, let's say that the river now is not getting polluted. In that case, the social marginal cost is going to be the private marginal cost of the chemical plant plus zero because the fishermen are not affected. As you can see, the social marginal cost now is just the private marginal cost of the firm of the chemical plant itself. And that brings us to the second condition for market efficiency. Only the producer bears all production costs. That is the case when social marginal cost equals private marginal cost. That will be the second case here, not the first. So what the two conditions together mean? We saw before that the demand curve equals the private marginal benefit. Now it's also going to be equal social marginal benefit because in this case those two are the same. We also saw that the supply curve is also the private marginal cost firm. Now, if the two conditions are satisfied, it's also going to be the social marginal cost firm. With that in mind, we can actually conclude that the market outcome is the best outcome for society in the sense that it's the most efficient one. Why? Well, the market outcome, it's always going to be private marginal cost equals private marginal benefit. Market outcome, it's always the one determined by the individuals separately. When we make decisions, we don't care about the social implications. We only care about ourselves. At least that's what economic theory assumes. So the market outcome is private marginal cost equals private marginal benefit. Right here. 2 and 7. Okay. However, because the two conditions of efficiency are satisfied, we can see that the market outcome coincides with the outcomes such as social marginal cost equals social marginal benefit. Just because in this case the curves are the same, private equals social. If that's the case, why is it the best outcome for society? Well, consider for instance Unit 1. I'm picking very small numbers just to make the graph easier, but you can think for instance that 1 is 1,000, 2 is 2,000, 3 is 3,000, etc. Let's think it like that so it's more realistic. Consider quantity or unit 1,000. This unit is being produced. Unit 1,000 is being produced. Why? Well, the market equilibrium is 2,000, so all the way to here, everything here is being produced. Now, notice that all the way to 2, the social marginal benefit represented in this curve is larger than the social marginal cost represented in this curve. If the social benefit is larger than the social cost, then all these units here should be produced. Think about unit 1,000 again. The social marginal benefit is 8. The social marginal cost is 6. Should this unit be produced? Yes. So up to here, all those units should be produced. Now consider unit 3,000 or unit 2001, which is right here. All these units here are not being produced because the market equilibrium is 2,000. And they shouldn't be produced. Think about it. Unit 3000. The social marginal cost is 8. The social marginal value is 6. Should this unit be produced? No. Every unit from 2001 has marginal cost larger than marginal benefit, so it's not good for society. So, as it turns out, to produce up to 2000 here is not only the best outcomes for society, it's also the market outcome. So those two coincide in this case. That is, to maximize society's welfare, quantity produced should be such as price equals private marginal benefit. That's always going to be the case. So price 7 equals private marginal benefit equals private marginal cost. This is always the case. But to maximize society's welfare, it should also be true that price equals private marginal benefit equals social marginal benefit, which is equal to private marginal cost equals social marginal cost. So these three here, price, private marginal benefit, private marginal cost, they are always, these conditions are always satisfied because the market makes sure of that. If the equality also includes social marginal benefit and social marginal cost, then we have that the markets are efficient. That's a powerful result. It's used to justify capitalism and the market economies instead of, for instance, the other extreme, communism. Next, we're going to talk about what happens if this condition here, this long chain of equalities, is not satisfied.